Hello there survivors, welcome back to another build tutorial in ARK Survival Ascended. Today we're building this old factory with a slightly abandoned feel to it, which is kind of a really cool all-in-one base. You'll have space inside for all of your storage and crafting, even some of your dinos or the newly added garage and battle rigs. And you'll even have a great spot to place your tribe tower if you want to boost those rates. But more importantly, this just means that you can build a really cool base. We will be using some skins, the frontier windows. I would suggest using the steampunk stone pillars and of course some of the wasteland structures. But besides that, we can just build it out of normal stone, which we will paint in a nice terracotta color to get the right effect. And we also will be painting some metal structures. But yeah, I think this turns into a really cool factory base, a proper workshop if you need all that space for all your crafting and storage needs. I personally think this base has a really cool vibe to it. So if you're looking forward to this build tutorial and you like seeing these, make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and then let's get into the build. Okay, and of course, as always, it's going to start with a foundation. Now this one, we want to make 6 wide in total. So just like this. And then we want to go back by just 1 and then bring it out by 3 more to the side. So like this. And on the other side of this foundation, we want to do the same thing. So we'll take it 1 out and then we can take it out by 3, just like this over here. So this should all still be exactly the same on both sides. And this side is going to be 11 in total. So we already have the 1 and we'll add 10 to that. So we'll just keep bringing this one out until it's 11 long in total. And we're going to only do that on the left side, and we'll need a lot more space on the right side to expand the rest of our build, because that's where like the other hall is going to be. So this is going to be 1 hall, and then we have the side addition all to the right of the building. Of course, you could flip this around if you want to do that, if that fits your landscape better, but you'll have to just mirror everything that I do. So here at the back, we can make sure that we also bring this in by 3 more and then bring it out by 1. So basically repeating what we have going on at the front. And then we can make this 6 wide in total again, which should line up perfectly with the front. Then we can go in by 1. And once again, we can add 3 to this to, again, mirror the other side and get this same shape on both ends. And then we can add 1 and 2 right here. And here at the front, we also want to add 3 more to this corner here. Then from this end, we can bring it out by 9 more. So we'll get another long hole here, adding 9 in total to the shape. And of course, at the back, that's going to be the same thing. We'll add 9 in total here, just like this. And then we can connect the 2 parts up, which should be 6 wide. And in total, that should bring out our entire shape in this form, which means a 6 wide front, then going in by 1, going out by 3, having 11 on the side, then once again going in by 3, having a 6 wide end there, going out by 3 there, then going in by just 2 walls, and then 9 out, 6 in total on there, 9 back in, 3 here on the side and 3 here on the front before circling all the way around. So that is the shape of the main foundation that we'll need today. Now there's 2 options. Either you can just go crazy with foundations and fill this entire shape in, but if you want the garage in here and you want to center it nicely, there's actually a really easy trick to do that. What we want to do is, to this front, we want to add 5 more foundations, just like this. We'll do the same right here. So we know that this is exactly the middle. Then we'll add 2 to the side here and 2 to the side over here as well. And this is where you would want to place the garage, but we want to make sure that it is all centered. So what we can do then is take out some quarter foundations, and we can actually go like this from the corners and make sure that we add 10 in total, or Actually, it should line up perfectly with these ones here at the back, and that will force the garage to be right in the middle of the structure. So here on the other side, we want to make sure that we do the exact same thing. So once again, we go out by these quarter foundations. If you didn't know, a garage is a 5x5. Of course, this would be a 6x5, which is not really perfect fit, and we want to center it. So now that we've placed those at the side, we can have the foundations just a quarter one off centered, and then this will be 5. And now we can bring this back out as 5 as well over here, and we should be able to make this perfect little square in here. And yeah, if you want to have a garage, and you might want to have those now that they're new, this is exactly perfect. One tip before we add in the garage, you want to make sure that you skin these to be the wasteland textures, because then they will match the texture of the garage. Otherwise, they will kind of interfere with each other and it wouldn't look as good. So yeah, at least make sure that you change these skins, and then you can pop the garage on top. But now that we've done that, we can just start filling in the rest of the foundations. And if you're not bothered about having a garage inside of the factory hall, you can of course ignore all this and just fill in the foundations like normal. And that is what we'll do right now, filling in all the gaps in between the lines that we've placed to fill in the rest of the foundation. So eventually this is what we should have completely filled in, and if you did add the garage, you can see the square right there as well. Then we'll start right here on the side of the building, and we want to add a wall in here, and we want to make it 3 high in total. Then we'll go to the side and we'll make it 5 high in total, and we'll add this little shape just like this, because then we can add in our slope walls to make the shape complete. And in between, we'll use some quarter walls right here at the bottom and here at the top as well. And then we can fit in some walls right in the middle. And these we want to skin to the Frontier skins to make some nice windows. If you do not have the Frontier pack, you could just go for greenhouse or, you know, maybe some other custom cosmetics to make your window look nice. And then we want to surround this by some pillars and beams just like this. We also want to make sure that we add in the beam across the bottom here of this section, and we can add in the pillars here, and of course we will also want to connect them down into the ground, and we can also have a pillar going all the way up for this section just to kind of add some nice contours. Speaking of, we can actually follow through on that on the entire side here all the way to the back, and of course back into the main building. Then here at the back we can kind of repeat the process, so make a 3 high wall, make a 5 high wall, and place this one in between, adding in these quarter walls right there, the sloped walls up here, and of course the windows that will skin in here too, so that we can then add in the rest of the pillars and beams around the window just like that. And of course adding in these pillars on the corners to kind of replicate what we did on the front as well. Then what we want to do is we want to start adding in walls here. 3 high, leave a gap of 1, and add another wall of 3 high. And that's what we're gonna repeat for this entire side of the building until we end up here at the other corner. So it should look exactly like this. That's where we can take out our quarter walls and fill them in between to basically create more of those window frames that we've also had on the front and the back, all the way across the side like this. Then we can select our walls again that will skin into windows. So right here in the middle is where we'll place them in, just like this. Then of course we can change those to the actual Frontier window skins, and yeah, there we go. And also for these ones, we want to make sure that we have the pillars around them just like this. And then of course we're also going to add in the beams on the bottom and the top just to kind of keep that same pattern going. And then we want to grab our wasteland skins and apply them to the pillars around the window, not the other pillars though. just the ones around the window. If you do want to skin the other pillars, I would suggest the steampunk skin and then changing them to the stone variant. That's actually quite a nice look for the rest of the pillars. But these ones around the windows, we're all going to change to the wasteland ones so that we get the nice rusted metal look for these. Okay, and in order to get the right snap points, we actually want to just place one little quarter ceiling right there in the corner, because now when we start adding in the roofs, we can have them overhang on the outside just by a quarter bit, and then yeah, we can just start filling in this entire side of the building just like this, going all the way to the other side. Again, we should have the little overhang, and we can just fill in this roof completely. So yeah, this is going to be a little side addition to the main hall to give you some extra room. And then of course we want to fill in a little pillar here at the end, or beam at the end, just to kind of have a nice end for these roofs. And then we want to actually update the skins for the pillars to the wasteland one for the nice rusted metal once again. And also the roof skins we can actually fully change to the wasteland ones, because I think for a factory roof these work very, very well. And then what you also want to do once you've added them all in is actually randomize them a little bit, because if you didn't know, there's actually a variant for these ones that is the broken look, and that just makes it look a little bit nicer. So you randomly want to make some of these broken. So yeah, something like this, but again, can be totally random. It doesn't really matter, but it just adds a little bit more character to the build in my opinion. Okay, then it's time to start here on the corner wall. We'll take it up at least as high as the rest of the building, and then we want to add 2 more to it, and we'll add 2 right next to it as well. Now you can probably guess, here on the end of the building we're going to be doing the exact same thing. So we'll raise it up as high as the building, add 2 more on top, and 2 more to the side. Now then, it's important to take a look to what we have down here. We have some windows every other one. We are gonna do the same kind of pattern here at the top. So for example, this is where one of the windows would be. Then we will have a full wall again, and then we can fill in the quarters at the bottom and the top of each layer. And that is kind of how this whole wall is going to be built up. So every time we're going to create these little windows and then fill in the normal walls in between, just like this. And then we have a bunch of window sized holes. Again, we're going to just add in walls in the middle of these, and then we can take out our frontier window skins to change to actual windows. And for these we also want to make sure that we have some pillars and beams around them, so we'll just go around the whole build, add those in just like so. And then of course for these specific pillars and beams we want to change them to the look of the wasteland skins. And then here at the end, of course, we also want to add in a nice pillar alongside the whole side of the wall. Make sure that it goes all the way down, and also have a beam at the bottom. On the other side of the building, of course, we're going to do the exact same thing. So we'll add in the pillar going all the way up to the top. Then here at the front, what we want to do is we want to take up our walls by 3 in total, just like this. Then we can add in some quarter walls alongside those walls, just so. There we go. Then we should be able to add some pillars to the sides of these walls so that we create a kind of entrance. Then in order to get a nice cellar door, or actually a barn door in here, we need to make sure that we have the right snap points. We've already created the right size, but they usually don't really want to snap to these. So we need to make sure that we have 3 full foundations right here in the middle in front of it. So what we do right over here, we add in a quarter foundation. And of course, we can make that too long so that we can actually snap the normal foundations in between. We can do the same thing over here, just like this. Then we can take out the full foundations, and we should be able to snap 3 of them right here in the middle. And now if we take out a large cellar door, we can switch not to the hangar version, but to the barn door version. And you should be able to get the snap point right there in the middle. This is a nice big 3x3 door. They are new. And yeah, they will look very great in here. There we go. And then personally, I would skin these to the new wasteland textures because I like the rusted look a little bit more. But of course, you can pick whatever look you like the most. And then we want to also extend this platform a little bit. This time we can just use normal foundations like so. So we create a little bit more room in front of here. And then we want to take out some stairs and we can just let it go down to the side. Of course, depending on your landscape, you might have to add some extra stairs in. But yeah, at least you'll have these stairs right here. In some cases, you might need one extra one. And at the sides, of course, we can fill in the sloped walls, normal walls underneath in case it's a little bit higher, just like mine. And then, of course, we can add in pillars here to make a nice look. And then you have your entrance pretty much ready. What I would do is then have some railings. You can go for any kind of railing, really, that you prefer. And especially if you're going to skin them, it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, there we go. We have our nice entrance ready, and more important, we have the gate in here. Now then, what we want to do is add in a row of walls right above here, just like this. We want to take out some stone ramps and we can start adding them in. So right over here this way, and then along the side we can add in some railings along the bottom here to look like some kind of supports. And then what we can also do is from the pillar add some extra railings going up into this little support. Not personally, I would probably change these to the wasteland skins, but again, it's up to you whether you like those looks or not. But since I like to go in for the little bit more abandoned look for the factory, I think this works quite well to be a nice entrance. So there we go, we have a little roof above it. Then we want to add in another layer of normal walls just like this. And then we can go up with these walls right until the height of the previous wall that we've already built. So just like so. Then we can have some extra walls up here. And we can start by going up just like this. And then here in the middle, what we want to do is we want to have two walls right here like so. Then we have the slope walls on top. And we'll have some slope walls right underneath here. So we have a nice window shape like this. We can actually add in some pillars along the sides here and along the bottom. And whilst we're at it, we might as well add in these right here too. Just along the side like this. And then this is pretty much going to be a big window. So first of all, we'll fill in the normal walls, the slope walls on top. And then, of course, we can skin it all to the frontier skins to get the nice look. And once again, the pillars and beams around the window, we want to change into the metal looks. The wasteland skins, just like this. There we go. So you can see it's already starting to take a little bit more shape now. All right, it's time to start the main roof. What we want to do right here on the edge, we want to add in one layer of roofs. We're not going to go for an overhang on the outside. We will add one over here. And then at the bottom, we can actually go all the way across to the other side. So just like this, all the way up to here. Then once again, bringing it up in this shape. Then we'll leave a gap of 3. We'll add in one right here, leave another gap of 3, and add in another one. In these gaps, we want to add in some greenhouse roofs to get some nice windows in your roof itself. So just like this. And then we want to do a little bit of an additional design. So we'll take out a slope wall. We'll add this shape just like this. We can already start for the other side as well. And we'll do the same thing here, just like that. So basically, we're going to be creating another little design piece on the roof. We'll have a pillar at the corners, of course. We'll do the same thing here at the front, just like that. And then once again, to get some snap points, we'll add in these little bits at the corner. We will use them for the roof. But first, the walls at the side, we're just going to use windows all the way across to this side. And then, of course, adding in the actual windows themselves as well. Now, for these ones, what I like to do is take out the frontier and then not do all of them, but just a few here and there. And then the ones that we've missed, we're going to do with the wasteland skin. So it looks like they have been boarded up. And then you actually also just want to change all these textures to the wasteland skin. And if you want to play around with making this look even nicer, there's another thing we can add. So let's first change all these skins. If you want to randomize it even more, what you can do for some of these is flip them around just to get a little bit of variation in the way that these walls look, which in my opinion always looks a little bit nicer. Now this is a little bit tedious, so you can also already do this once before you apply the skins and just flip the walls when placing it. But I mean, depends on what you prefer, I suppose. And then of course for the top layer we also want to add in the roof. So this one is going to have that tiny little overhang again, and we can just go all the way to the other side like this, and then add in a beam at the bottom of the roof as well, all the way across. And then we can change these skins to complete the look up here. And that is the top of the roof. The other side we're not going to do quite yet, because we're still gonna, you know, add a whole building to it. But for now we can at least change these skins over here, and we get a quite nice looking roof, if I do say so myself. And of course here at the end we also want to add in our beams as the last little bit of detail here, and we can fill in these skins to create the right look for our roof. There we go. So yeah, that is one side of the building. We do, however, have a back of the building to fill in. Now, if you really want, you can just use the same thing as the front if you want to make sure that you can use this as an entrance. But otherwise, we want to change around the design a little bit. So first off, we start with going across the bottom with a row of walls. Then the last two we can take up all the way alongside the pillar, just like this. And then we can do the same thing on the other two at the end of this wall. So we'll take it all the way up, making sure it's the exact same height, of course, as the other one. Here we can add in the beams. We can add in the beams across the bottom here as well. And then we can make sure to add in the pillar on the corner too, all the way like this. We can add in our sloped walls. Then over here we can connect these top twos. We can add the slope walls on top as well, and we can add them in this shape below. Then what we can do, we can fill in the middle of this wall so that we can add in a nice tall window that will go all the way up till here. And then of course slope walls on top of this, and then change it all to the frontier skins to get a nice tall big window like this. And then we can add in pillars alongside of the window on both sides, of course, and have some beams going across the bottom. Then we'll change these to the wasteland skins to get the nice little metal border for the wall or the window. And there we go. A nice big tall window at the side or at the back here. All right, we'll continue at the front of the building, and then on this side we're going to fill in just the wall all the way up to the top of the pillar, just like this. We'll also add in another pillar alongside this one, all the way to the bottom. And then we can start for this side bit. It's going to be similar to the one we already did. It's going to be 3 high over here, and then it's going to be 5 high over there, and also filling in this one. We can add in our slope walls like so, and then our quarter walls there and over here, and filling in our normal walls here and changing them to the frontier window, adding some pillars to the side and some beams to the bottom. We can also have those beams going across the bottom like this, and also back here all the way to that corner. Then we can add in the pillars on the corner here. We can also add in the pillars on this corner over here. And then we can also fill in this wall. So we have a wall 3 high there, a wall 3 high here, quarter walls in between, quarter walls over there, and then of course placing the wall down, changing it to the frontier window, and making sure that we surround it with pillars and beams to create the window look. And of course the ones around the windows we want to change to the wasteland skins, because that looks a little bit nicer for those. Then we want to place this one in the corner. Well, this will actually differ whether you're on official settings or not, because we need to make sure that the roof ends here. So it needs to end in this line. It can't go any further because we have the whole side part of the building. But normally we would overlap it here by a quarter on the outside or half on the outside, which would mean that this ones will interfere. And I do not think that is possible. So if you're an official, you want to make sure that you probably just ignore that little quarter one and just line it up into the wall, or do a full overlap on the outside, I suppose. Those are the two options. But if you do have overlapping, you can just build it up like this, just like me. And of course, at the end of the roof, we can add in all pillars. Also, these will overlap slightly, but then we can change the skins for all of these. And just as the other roofs, you might want to do some randomization with broken bits in here too. Now, obviously, things are going to be slightly different here. Actually, I see that we raised the pillars up. That we shouldn't have done that. It should only go up to where this roof interferes with the build. So, yeah, not too much higher. Then we want to make the wall one longer over here. And we want to add a wall here. Quarter walls in between, so that we can create another little window here, just like this. Of course, the pillars and beams around the window, and change them to the right skins like so. And then here at the end, we want to place 2 pillars down too. Then we actually want to take up this pillar to be the same height as the other ones. And we can fill in the wall between these two, just like so. And here we can, of course, add in our slope walls, just like that, so that that wall is filled in. We're ready for this side of the building. And on the inside, we still keep the advantage of having as much space there as possible and not filling the entire wall in down to the ground. Okay, then we want to kind of divide this wall up into different segments. First of all, we will take up one portion of this wall all the way up to the top like this. Then what we want to do is leave a gap of 3 and then raise up one of these walls again to the same height. And then we should have another gap of 3, and exactly on the corner of the build, we can raise up another of these walls. There we go. Then we can add in the pillars going all the way, of course, to the bottom and all the way up to the top of the wall. We'll do that for all of these segments that we've just created, just like this, all the way to the bottom and all the way up to the top. And then the last one will do the exact same thing. So basically dividing the wall up a bit into these different areas. And then, of course, along the bottom, we can have a nice pillar or beam going all the way across like this. And then about 3 high is where we can have another one of these beams going across. So basically creating 2 big squares. We want to take out our large cellar doors again. And this time we're going to go for the hangar doors. They should be able to fit exactly inside of these shapes we just created. And if we open them up, they should look like this. And once again, personally, I would change them to the wasteland skin to make them a little bit more rusted. Fits in a little bit better in my opinion. And then we have these unloading docks at the side of our build. Now, depending on your foundation, if you just did the normal foundation from the ground like we did right now, it probably should be high enough above the ground that you can park one of your tames here and you can unload from the side here. So for example, a mammoth or something you could easily unload. And of course, if you're carrying a doed or an anki, you can fly in through the side and unload on the inside. That's kind of the idea of these sections, to be proper loading docks for your base. Okay, for now, for these parts at the top, we can actually connect them with a wall up here. And we can also have a wall above these hangar doors like so. Then we'll take out our quarter walls and we'll add them here to the side. And we'll do the same thing here on the other side of the building, just like this. We'll do the same thing over here, bringing this up all the way and going on over here as well, bringing them up both sides. So we have some big open spaces, and you probably guessed it, this is where we want to add in some more windows. So we can fill this in with walls, then change them to the frontier skins so that we have our nice big windows in here. And of course, we want to make sure that we add beams and pillars around these as well. So just like this, we'll fill them all in. And this is going to fill in this entire wall. Then of course, everything around the window we want to change to the wasteland structure skins. The other pillars, we don't. Again, if you want to skin those, I would personally go with the steampunk skins and then the stone variation. Those look quite nice here as well. But that's only for all the other pillars. There we go. That is what this wall is going to look like. Now that we've got the whole wall here at the front done, we can also start focusing on the roof a little bit more. First off, we can start filling this in like this on the side, all the way over here until the corner, of course. And then we can follow this through all the way over until the end of the wall over there as well. We can take out a corner and fill that little bit in. Over here, of course, we're going to be adding in a window just like this. And then, of course, we have a normal roof there and a normal roof here. Then we can create another little corner over there. And this is actually also where we're going to be starting this pattern. So we'll have 3 windows there, then a normal roof, a gap of 3, normal roof, and a gap of 3. Take this up here and fill this in like so. And of course, these are going to be the windows, the greenhouse roofs, just like so. Then we'll take out our beams and we'll add them along the bottom of the roof, just as we've done everywhere so far, all the way across. And of course, we want to change the skins of these to turn them into the nice rusted metal look. And also the roofs we can start to update, and as soon as we've done that, or during skinning them, we can also make sure that we randomly destroy some of them for a more unique look, and yeah, just a little bit more character in general. Then here at the end, we're going to do the same thing that we did on the other side. We're going to create this little pattern like so. Have the pillars here on the corners, and then we can take out our window walls and just go all the way across the top of these until we reach this corner. We want another pillar. And then we can take this one out back over here. So this should line up here again without any issues. And then, of course, here we want to add in these little quarter ceilings for the extra snap points. Then we can also, of course, change the skins of this end. Make sure to add in all the windows on this side too. And, of course, just as we did on the other side, we kind of just randomly want to skin some of these to be the Western Frontier glass, and the other ones, of course, we can do with the Wasteland skin so that they get the boarded up look. I personally really like it this way. And then, of course, we can also change the skins for all of these walls. And just as we did for the other side, you can randomize or flip these around randomly in some spots to create a little bit of a more interesting design and break up the patterns a little bit, so it doesn't look quite the same everywhere, which I personally quite like the look of. But then we should end up with something like this. Then here on top, of course, we can, with the extra snap point, start adding in our roofs all the way across the top until we get close to the corner. Once again, this is going to require a little bit of an overlap. If you're building this in official, you probably just want to make sure that you do not do the overhang or do a full roof overhang on the end so that you can avoid having to overlap this section. But otherwise, you can just do the overlapping. And we're going to, of course, have the same thing here. So once again, for official, you probably just want to avoid doing this little overhang on the end and just line it up with the walls, or have a full roof overhang instead so that you don't have to worry about them overlapping at all. Then, of course, we can add in the pillars or the beams across the bottom of the roof, just like this. And, of course, add in the corner over here. And that means that we can also start changing the look for these. Once again, the roofs, you want to make sure that you randomly change some of these variants to the ones with hole in the roof, because that just looks a little bit nicer in my opinion. So yeah, let's just fill these all in just like that. Okay, we already have come quite far, but now of course it's time for the other side of the building. A lot of this will be quite similar. For starters, we're going to start filling in this wall here on the side to be equally high as this pillar here. And then of course on this side, we want to add in a wall that's 3 high and then a wall that is 5 high in total. Then we can add in our slope walls just like this. Make sure that we add in a pillar here along the side all the way down. And we have pillars here on the corner too. Then of course we have some quarter walls here at the bottom and at the top. And then we can fill in the walls in the middle, change them to be a window, and make sure that we've got pillars and beams around it to create a nice little window in here. And then here on this side, we actually just want to fill in the whole wall because there's no room to really add in the window there. So we just fill it in just like that. And then of course have the pillars going down all the way. Also making sure that we add in some beams across the bottom there. Then we'll take out a little quarter, place it there in the corner. Make sure that we take out our roofs. Once again, this will require a little bit of an overlap. But if you can't do that, just line it up with the normal roof or the normal wall, or stick it out by a full roof instead of this half bit, just to avoid having to overlap in general. But this is of course because also on this side, we're going into the rest of the building. And then up here, of course, we want to add in some quarter walls just like this. Then bring back our normal wall like so. Fill in this one. Change it to a window. And make sure that we have beams and pillars around it to create that nice big window design here. And then, of course, we have pillars over there. This pillar here, we want to raise up to be the same height as the rest of these walls, just like that. And then of course we can start filling in this wall over here all the way down, and then of course having slope walls to finish in these gaps. And there we go, that's already a start. Of course at the end of this roof we also want to make sure to add in all pillars, and then we can skin these and of course add in random broken variants of the roof wherever we want. There we go, that's a pretty good start. Now it's time to start with the walls over here. Of course this wall we're going to bring up all the way to the top, and then we can come across all the way until the corner of the building and bringing it all the way down, leaving a gap of 3. We'll bring up a wall over here as well all the way to the top. Then we'll go up by 3 before we place this one, so we have a gap of 3 by 3 there. And then we can do the same thing to this side. Then of course we want to add in a pillar, making sure that it goes all the way to the bottom and all the way over to the top. Same thing over here, all the way from the top to the bottom. Just like this. Same thing there. All the way from the bottom back over to the top. And then on the corner is the final section where we're going to do the exact same thing. Making sure that we fill it in all the way to the top. And then our beams will be right there, right here, and right here. Nothing in the middle. Then we'll take out our quarter walls. We'll add in a row here on the side of the build. Same thing over here. Just a little quarter wall like so. And up here, we're going to do the exact same thing. Adding in these quarter wall sections to make sure that the windows that we'll be making will be lining out to be exactly in the middle of these wall sections. So yeah, we'll do the same here. Having these quarter walls, and then the last section down here, we'll do the exact same thing. Adding in these quarter walls all the way up from the foundations to the top like this. Then we should be able to fill in our windows. For now, of course, that will just be the normal walls, and then we can change the skins in a little bit. So just like that, it should be filled in. Change them, of course, to the frontier skin. Create some nice big windows out here. Just like that. We have 4 nice big windows. And of course, we want to add beams and pillars around all of these to get the same look that we've done for all the other windows so far. So yeah, we'll just make sure that we completely surround these with beams and pillars just like this. There we go. And then of course, once we've done that, we want to change the skins of these pillars to the wasteland variant, because I personally think that looks quite nice. So there we go. Do the same thing over here all the way around, and then the last one will also change all of these skins. There we go. Then we have the big wall done here, and we can start focusing on the roof a little bit. First off, we'll bring out the roof down to the wall just like this. Then we can go across the side all the way until we end up at the corner. Here in the corner, of course, we can just go to the end just like this. Fill these in. There we go. We'll add in the corner right there as well. Then we can fill in the next section. First of all, we want to have 3 glass windows right there. Then we can fill in the corner right here. And then we have 1 normal roof there. We'll have a gap of 3. Normal roof, gap of 3, normal roof. Then, of course, we can also do the glass roofs here. Just like that, to create a nice big windows. And of course, add in the beams across the bottom of the roof all the way around the corner. Then here on the side, we want to fill in the window walls once more. We want to go around the entire side of the wall to line them up with the existing structures. Of course, we'll add a little pillar in there. And we'll add in the actual windows, of course. Don't forget those. There we go. And then once again, we can randomize which ones of these are going to be the actual frontier windows, or which ones are going to be the boarded up wasteland version. And then we can also actually change all the walls to the wasteland skins to make this top part into a little bit of that rusted metal look, which I quite like. Just like that. And just as for the previous sections, you can flip some of these walls around randomly just to kind of break up that design a little bit, because I think that looks a little bit nicer that way. There we go, just like that. So we're almost there. We can, of course, also change the skins of the roof and these beams at the bottom, just like so. All the way across to the other side. just like this, and there we go. And once again, you can make some broken versions wherever you like randomly. And of course, here we can add in our roofs again. There will be a little overlap here though for the corner. And then here, of course, we can start the same thing. Just going all the way back into the middle here, where we'll have another overlapping part before we have the actual corner. And of course, we can add in our beams across the bottom of the roof all the way until we reach the end once again. And then we can change the skins on these to finish this section of the build. There we go. And get a nice proper factory roof going. There we go. That should look quite nice, and that should finish almost all of this build. We have one more wall to go, and then the optional extra tower next to it for your forge and the tribe tower. All right, for this wall on this side, we're gonna start simple here at the side. We're just gonna go and bring these two walls up all the way, just like this. There we go. And then of course we can add in our slope walls on top. We're gonna do the same thing here on the other corner. Bring up our walls all the way, just like this. And then fill in our slope walls just like that. We can connect these two, add in our slope walls to the top, and add in slope walls right below here like this. Then here in the middle at the bottom, we can also fill in the first two. So just like so. Then we will leave a gap of 4, and then we can fill in these right here in the middle. Then above here, we want to add in our big windows. So we'll add in the walls or slope walls on top. And then of course, we will change the skin just to the window one. And then we can have beams at the bottom and pillars across the side of this. Change these to the wasteland look, just like so. There we go. And this gap is only needed if you actually want to extend and have the tribe tower building and the little chimney building next to it. If you do not, you can also just fully make this a big window, just as we did at the back of that section. But before we get started on the optional side building, let's focus on the interior here a little bit, because we do have quite a big interior so far, but of course there's more that you could add to it. So we'll add in a little bit of infrastructure. These two will just keep open. Then we will start a staircase going up by 3 in total before we go to our ceilings. There we go. Then we can add in ceilings all the way to the other side like this. Fill in this corner. Of course, this part will keep open in case you might want to actually add in the garage as well. And then this section on the side, we definitely want to add in some ceilings. So this is one of the sections that you can use for some of your storage, crafting, or whatever you need. But basically just create a new room here, just like that. And here in the front, we want to make a walkway that crosses from one side to the other side, because I feel like that feels very much like a factory. And then we'll fill in these all the way across to the other side again. So it's going to be a 3 wide walkway here in the middle to cross back to this section, just like that. And that should also connect up to where we had the staircase in the first place. Then here at the back, we want to make sure that we have 2 staircases going up here as well. And then we can continue the ceilings all the way towards the end here, creating a nice little 2 wide walkway. And then here at the back, we can also start filling these in a little bit. And we want to make sure that we fill in this entire section just like this, so until the middle. And then here where we have this 2 wide gap, this is where we can add in another staircase just like so. And then here in the corner, we'll have another walkway crossing to the other side right there. And that's where we also can have another staircase coming back down like this. And then of course we can add in a bunch of pillars. At least I would do one on each of these corners to kind of support them up. We can actually keep them going all the way to the next layer. Then here we want to do every 2. So that is a gap of 2. Then we'll have another gap of 2. And then there is another gap of 2 to that wall. Then here, of course, we want to do the same. So that's a gap of 2. We'll have another gap of 2 and more pillars down this side. And then we kind of want to keep that pattern going. So we'll have pillars every other 2, and that should line up. And then here at the end, it's going to be 3. We'll do the same thing over here, and that should be another 2. So only here at the front, we have a slightly bigger gap, but that's totally fine. Because what we actually want to do here is add one right in the corners, of course, to make proper supports for that. So we actually want to do that here at the back as well. Same over here, adding some extra supports there. And then here we can also do every other 2. We can add in the pillars, although you might want to change that if you add in the garage, because that will already add in some extra supports. And then of course here from the front on this side, we also want to go every other 2. We want to add in some pillars for support, just like this, which should give you plenty of space around to kind of work with. And then if we did it correctly, we should be able to snap the garage right into this space, which should line up with the little square that we made for it. We can see that this also lines up with the platforms we've made. Actually, on this side, it fully connects. So you can actually build something up in here as well. Maybe a little like office or bedroom or whatever you want. But I mean, that is of course only if you want the garage. So that will be optional, and I won't be doing that right here in this build. But I did want to show you where you can add in the garage if you wanted to add it. For now, one thing that we want to make sure is, of course, we add in the appropriate railings so that we're not just falling down everywhere. So along the staircase, along this side, we want to at least have some railings there in that corner. And then probably around the platform if you do end up having the garage, or you build a room up there, as I said. But for now, we'll just follow the walkways across and add in our safety railings like this. And we continue that over here all the way along the side. And yeah, these walkways, of course, you can also place crafting and stuff down there. And if you really need more space, you can of course also just fill in the entire thing. Although I would really recommend keeping it open like this for a more factory feel. So we'll have a railing here. Then of course along these sides as well. And then lining up with the edge of this platform around the staircase, on the side of the staircase here. And then, of course, here at the back too, all the way until we reach the ground again. And now if you really want to add in some extra details, what you can do to every pillar, we can add in some scaffolding supports like this, which just kind of makes it feel like this is all being properly supported in every way. And yeah, just some nice fun details, of course. So yeah, we can go around and add these in the appropriate places. But basically it means, yeah, wherever we have a pillar and there is something directly above that pillar, we can add them in and create some proper supports, which can only help, you know, create the feeling that this is being supported properly. And it also just adds a little bit more detail and character to the build, right? Instead of being very empty, it creates some more interesting shapes in places where you're honestly not really going to be doing anything else anyway. So you might as well add in these extra details. So yeah, it's definitely worth going around once to add in all these scaffolding and make it look quite nice like this. And then all these walkways, these ceilings, I would probably also change to the wasteland textures at least the ceilings and the stairs. The railings you can either leave as metal, maybe some of them you can turn into the wasteland, depending for how much of a like destroyed and abandoned look you want to go for. Now that basically means we've got this section done. Now if you really want to go for the factory look, you want to paint the walls. The walls you want to paint in the first and second region, and I used terracotta color. Okay, if you want to go for the optional extra tower to the side with the option to add a tribe tower on top, this is what you need to do. From the foundation, right in the middle, of course, beneath the gap that we just created, we want to go out by 6 in total. So just like this, and that is where we're going to start our design. We want to make this 4 wide. And then also 4 wide in this one. So we're going to make a little square just like this. And then once you've made that square, you can take out these foundations that connected it, because we can now make a hall that connects the two structures without needing those in the middle, because the connections should still be covered by the existing foundation support, which means that you kind of get like a little passageway that you can pass underneath. So the first step that we want to do is we want to add a 2 high wall all the way around this build, which should line up with the hole that we made on the other side. So yeah, we just want to go around this entire square and make these walls. But of course, this is going to be a usable space. So if you want a little entrance, I would suggest at one of the sides, preferably, I think, all the way at the other side, add in a little doorway here. Then we can have a ceiling and create a little staircase leading off from it, so that you can actually access this as an extra entrance. And then of course you probably want to make sure that you add in some supports like this to create a nice little side entrance. And of course we can also then add in a door right there as well. Now it's time to connect these two. What you actually want to do, because we're going to use the wasteland skins, is flip around the ceilings like this, because we want the metal version of the skin at the bottom, and this way you don't have to flip the skins manually. We want to go out by 3 on this side, then we're going to go to the middle 2 of these, and also going to go out by 3 on this side, and that should connect them. And now the foundation support is once again connected between the 2 of these. Now for the top of this section, we can have the ceilings like normal and just continue 2 wide, 6 long like this. Then we're going to create the sides of this thing. First of all, we want to decide where we want our windows. We'll have one right there and one right here. I'm going to flip some of these structures, because once again, I'm going to be using the wasteland structure skins on these. And if we flip some of the walls around, it means the textures will just be a little bit nicer. So that is what we're going for. So we'll just randomly place walls in certain orientations so that we don't have to manually flip the skins later. So we'll do that for this side. And then we'll figure out a little pattern for this over here as well. And then we can just fill in the other ones just like this. Fill in all windows on both sides. There we go. Take out scaffolding, start underneath the window and bring it back into your build like this, so that it looks like this little hallway that connects the two is actually being properly supported. And then you still have plenty of room to pass underneath. And then of course, just as I said, we will change the skins for these to the wasteland ones, which gets us a nice metal look for this little passageway, but still a little bit rusted, which I think really adds a lot of character to the build. There we go. We'll change all of these, and of course the ones on top as well. And because we flipped some of them, you can see that certain textures aren't the same, which just breaks it up. And we have the metal here because we flipped those upside down as well. Then we want to take out our pillars, and we can actually add them to the side here, also at the top. We want to make sure that we change these to the wasteland ones as well. And then actually we also want them here at the bottom, so that you kind of have a proper connection to the building, which means that we want to do that here on this side as well, just as a little extra detail. Now that we have the connection, it's time to finish the rest of this design. So we want to go up by 4 walls in total. There we go, and we'll bring them back around on this side so that we get a nice big window. Here we just of course want to fill in the wall because we already have the little tunnel connecting the two, so we'll just do it like this. Here once again we want to leave room for a big window in the middle, so we'll go around like this, and then on this side once again we'll leave space for a nice big window there. So just like that, we can take out our pillars, add them to the corner of the build all the way to the bottom. We'll do that of course on all sides of this little tower that we are creating, right here as well, all the way to the ground, and then one more over here, taking it all the way up to the top. Then these ones obviously we want to fill in the walls. Then we can add in our frontier skins as the big windows, and then we can also surround these with pillars and beams, change them to the wasteland skins to get the right look, right like that. Same thing over here, we can add in the beams, we can add in the pillars, we can add in the walls, and we can change the skins to create our nice window design that we should be getting quite familiar with right now. So yeah, we can change all this just like that. And then for this one, we actually want to do it slightly different. We are of course going to be creating the edge around the window just like we always do, but we only want to fill in certain parts of the window. You can skin these all to this one, or you can maybe block some of these up just to kind of create the look of it being maybe broken and boarded up. We can also add in some scaffolding right there, because this is where we're going to create a staircase to the top where the tribe tower will be. Okay, then we can start creating the top layer here. First of all, we want to add in some roof pieces to the sides here. The middle two are going to be normal roofs, just like so on all sides. And then of course we can fill in the corners with the actual roof corners, just like this, all the way around. And we want to of course have our pillars, or beams in this case, go around the bottom of the roof, as well as the top, to add in the extra little bit of detail. And then we want to change all of this to the nice wasteland skins. And of course you can make some variant changes to some of these roof pieces to create some broken effects, just to kind of spice up the look a little bit more. So we want to make sure that we go all the way around. And then also we want to change these beams to these new skins. And then we want to start adding in some metal walls, 3 high in total. We're gonna do this on all of the sides, because the idea is that this used to be like an old big chimney. So, you know, it's a factory, so this used to be a big old chimney, but now it's been turned into something else with the tribe tower. Although the tribe tower also kind of makes it look more like a chimney. And then the little scaffolding pathway that we're about to create is just a way to get up there. You might want to randomly change some of these skins to the new wasteland textures, just because, yeah, makes it look like it's been repaired a little bit over time. And I actually would paint this all fully gold as well to kind of get that copper look. It's weird, but it actually works that way. It kind of turns it all a little bit the orangey copper look. And then here for the middle, what we want to do is we want to start with a platform, but this inside is just going to be quarter ceilings like that. And then one normal ceiling right here in the middle, because that is actually going to give us the right snap point for our big tribe tower. But for now, we'll just leave it like this. And then we can start all the way down here with our little pathway. So this is where it would start, our connection. Then we would have a stair going up like this. We can have another platform there. We can, of course, have some railings around the sides of these. And what we want to do is we want to add in some scaffolding that is kind of holding this whole thing up along the way. And then, yeah, I would probably skin all of this to the wasteland skins, but let's not do that right now to save a little bit of time. We'll add one more ceiling here before we add in our stairs. We'll go up by 2 this time. Then we can add our ceilings again. And we'll go up by 1 over here. We'll have more ceilings to go around the corner. And this is where the big climb begins. So this is where we will go up by 4 in total, just like that. So that's going to be the whole staircase. And of course, along the side, we want to make sure that we've got plenty support. So we have scaffolding in place to kind of support this whole walkway, like so. And then also we'll be adding the railings, of course. But for now, we can have one ceiling back here. We should be able to take this out to be 6 in total. And we'll go for another 6 right here. And another 6 right over here as well. There we go. We can fill this in like so. I'll leave a gap of 2 for the staircase. And we can kind of just fill in the rest of the ceilings like this. Then, of course, we want a little bit more support. What we want to do is add some scaffolding back here as a support to the platform, because there's going to be some, you know, a decent tower on top of this. So we want to make sure that it looks like it's being properly supported. So we want to add these in for sure. There we go. We'll add them around all the sides to add that proper supported look here. Of course, here we can't do that because, of course, this is where the staircase already is. But what we can do is add one from the staircase back to the tower, so it still looks like it has some extra support over there. And then, of course, we want to make sure that we add our railings around, because you definitely do not want to be falling off here all the time. But this platform will, well, for one, it will allow you to place your tribe tower in a convenient spot, but it also will just provide you with some very nice look of your surroundings. There we go. And then, of course, we'll also have the railings here. And as I said, the whole walkway, the railings, I would change all of that to the wasteland textures, because I think for at least the scaffolding path, that would be very, very nice. And there we go. We should have the railings everywhere. We have the platform almost ready. Before you add the tribe tower, make sure that you change these skins. It's a lot easier to do now than to wait until you've placed that tower in. So for now, let's change all of these skins to the wasteland one, and then we can take out the tribe tower. We should be able to snap it, and for some reason it's not allowed to be placed here, but believe me, you can. Yeah, the placement about being in the open sometimes feels very strange, because surely there's nothing directly above this. See how weird it is? I can't place it exactly in the middle, but slightly moving it will already help me. Anyway, yeah, it should be able to snap in the middle. If it doesn't allow, yeah, make sure that you have open sky. But even in this case, where I would have guessed that I could have placed it, it wouldn't let me. So it can be a little bit finicky, but should leave you enough room to easily walk around the tower still. It's a pretty cool structure, actually. So it's definitely a nice one to have around the base as a little bit of extra decoration. And of course, as soon as you add apex drops to the mix, it gets the nice flame on top which definitely adds to the factory look and feel. Now, that pretty much means that we've got it all going. As I said, you want to paint all the walls to the terracotta color to make a proper factory look. You want to paint these metal ones fully to the gold look. But there is a few extra details that we can add. Because, I mean, it kind of looks like a factory, especially if you painted the structures already. But we do have that chimney. But I would add a little bit more of them. And we can do that here on this side. And we're actually going to be adding 2. One of them we'll add from right here. So we'll go out by 4 in total over there. And we'll do the same thing over here, going out by 4 in total. Now we're going to do a special circle shape to make a smaller circle. This was taught to me by Mr. Super Doom. I will link his video below, but it's a special technique basically to get a much smaller rounded shape, which is great for these ones because obviously we do not want to have a massive chimney here because that would take over the whole build, but this small circle shape is actually quite nice. So basically what you do is you have this quarter stone ceiling and then you snap the triangle right next to it until we go all the way around. And then of course, once we've done that, we can fill in this entire thing so that we have a small round platform to work with. And then this means that here in the middle, we can kind of create this very small circular design, just like this, which in my opinion is really nice. It looks really cool and is exactly the right kind of shape for a chimney for this build. We want to bring this up from this platform by 18 in total. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 14, 16, 18. So yeah, 18 in total. So yeah, make sure to keep track. I mean, it's not the biggest deal if it's a little bit taller or a little bit lower. But I found that this was just kind of a correct height that you will be able to see it from the other side if you stand on the other side of the building. Like, you still kind of see it sticking out over the top, which is kind of the most important thing because, well, yeah, if you have these chimneys, you want to make sure that you can actually see them around. Yeah, so you know they're there, right? Because we want to get that factory feeling, and these will definitely help with that. They are, of course, purely aesthetic. We won't be able to use this for anything, but yeah, at least they will look cool. So yeah, we want to fill in all the sides, of course, to 18. It's a lot of for the ceiling, so it does add a bunch of extra structures, but in my opinion, definitely worth giving the go. So yeah, we'll go all the way up like this. Of course, the only downside to this is that we can't add railings everywhere. So for some of these, you will have to have these little quarter walls unless you use mods with like quarter railings, because unfortunately we do not have those in ARK currently, but at least in the other bits, yeah, we can use the normal railings. And then here as well, we can have our railings in place to look a little bit nicer. Now, the problem will come once we start connecting it to the building. If you can't overlap, yeah, you might have to live with a little bit of a gap, because as soon as we go down here, we will see that it doesn't quite perfectly line up with the building, so you will have to overlap to the inside. I don't know if that is possible in official settings, probably not, but yeah, then you will just have to build as close as possible. And realistically, you won't really notice most of these small gaps anyway. But yeah, just know that there is a slight overlap involved. And the way you work that away on the inside, of course, is up to you. You can just build it all the way until the ground. Or you can maybe let it go into a structure. Maybe have some forges there on the inside or fireplaces. I don't know. There's multiple ways to integrate this into your design. So that is one of these, and then basically you want to do that for a second time right next to this for this one. And then what we can also do, because right now you can't even access these platforms. That might not annoy you because it's anyway just for aesthetics. But if you want to, you can make them accessible. Okay, first of all, we would of course need some kind of door. So what you would do is you would add in a door right over here. And then either what you would do is have like a little walkway and then maybe a ladder somewhere in the corner. Or if you build a room on top of the garage, if you use those, then you're probably on the right height to quite easily connect the two. But that is up to you. We will just connect this on the outside. So yeah, we'll have a door right there. We'll have a little platform out here to use. And then we'll have a little hatch frame up there. We can then of course use some railings around this little bit. And also have some railings around this one. And then we'll have a quarter wall there because once again, we do not have quarter railings. We want to, of course, use some scaffolding there to support that properly. Then we want to add in the little ladder right there so we can reach this layer. And then we want to use our quarter ceilings to go across the side of the building. So this is basically a tiny little walkway that will connect to your two chimney platforms. So you'll add those in like so. You can then add in the ladders so that you can actually access these platforms and get back up. And then of course we can add in the railing alongside of this structure. Just like that. There we go. And then of course this is where the other chimney structure would be built, just the same as we did the first one. And then you would probably end it with another quarter wall because let's face it, we do not have the right pieces to end that. Yeah, there you go. That's how you create the little walkway. And of course you want to create a second chimney there as well to kind of balance out the side of the build. There we go. So now we have the two chimneys, and there's actually a little extra detail that we can add on top. Because you can actually add a forge on top. I'm not sure how you're going to keep it powered. Having a pyro main in the vicinity probably would be the easiest way. But yeah, you can create a little smoke stack from these. It actually works even better if you have the factory custom cosmetic, but that is a premium one. So whilst it's definitely not necessary, yeah, it does look a little bit nicer. So yeah, I definitely would recommend getting it if you like this type of build. But yeah, it's not necessary to have it. You kind of just want the smokestack, which will look really, really nice. And then to add a little bit more detail to this, and especially if you go for the abandoned look, you kind of want to maybe add some of these textures randomly to the tower to kind of break up the normal metal texture. So yeah, you just kind of randomly want to go around and place some of these skin textures in some spots just to break up the normal metal texture. And then another thing what you could do is add some of these scaffolding underneath this platform to kind of, you know, make it a little bit nicer. And of course you can skin the walkways, etc. if you want to not keep the stone look for those walkways, which I probably wouldn't. Either use the wasteland skins, maybe use metal instead. Or once again, yeah, the factory premium custom cosmetic is quite good for these types of build, of course. So yeah, as I said, these metal things you want to paint in the gold color because, yeah, well, apparently that turns it into a little bit of the orangey looking copper depending on the light. And the same thing for these. We want to paint them in that color as well, just to look a little bit more like a copper tube, I suppose. And then for the rest of the building, we want to have the terracotta color, and then on the first and second region, that only paints the stones, and that means that from both sides, it will look like a nice brick texture. You could also go for the brick color. It's a little bit more red, I personally like this one more, but of course, feel free to play around with these colors and then paint all of the walls. And as previous said, these pillars on the building, you can actually skin to the steampunk variant and then make sure that you select the stone one because that looks quite good as well. Okay, so this is the original factory that I built over here. I might actually end up moving to the new place because this keeps getting attacked by corrupted. I only did it for this water sewer outlet, but yeah, not a great spot on the edge of the city. As you can see, the trap tower is now gone because I placed it at the other base. But you can see another change. What I did to the windows is add a little bit more of these wasteland skins and also add some scaffolding in to break them up. So in some cases, I took out the windows completely, added in scaffolding to kind of make it look like more broken windows, boarded up windows, to add details in that way, which I personally think make the base look a lot more interesting. So I would go for that look, but of course you're free to decide for yourself. You can also see that I've used those steampunk stone pillars as little extra details. I think they come out really nicely, especially after painting the entire structure in the terracotta colors. And then of course all the chimneys are painted up as well to create these nice look. We got some vents and some extra pipes here. Those are from the steampunk decor mod by Aaron Longstaff, a really good decoration mod if you're looking to spice up your builds a little bit. And yeah, then let's check inside of the base. So I did end up using some of the factory custom cosmetics, as you can see. And we do have quite a bit in the base. I made this a very simple box on top of my garage. So it's too high. We got a little access point here so you can access this roof. And as you can see, it means that we can also access the door. This might be one lower than the one that I built, but I guess that only means that you kind of extend the ladder down. But as you can see, it kind of is easily connected up to the roof of the garage in case you also want to be doing that. Yeah, I would definitely recommend having the garage in there. I think it adds to the factory vibe, and we still have plenty of space. But if you prefer keeping more dinos inside, obviously you might want to save that space and not have the garage. Here to the side, we got some crafting structures, including the chemistry bench with the factory skins, some cryos, as well as the new what is this, the chem lab, I don't know, something. And then we have a bunch of those new wasteland lights, which I quite like. You got a grinder here in the middle. We got a little hatching corner here with some ACs, some cryos. We've got the big steam forge here in the middle section next to where we have the loading dock, so you can easily get some of your resources in here. Then this is my storage wall. I use visual storage, but of course this could be vaults, this could be dedicated storage, and it would just work as well. We got a smithy back here, fabricator, all that. We can of course go up here. This is where we can go up to the top level, where we have the generator. We've got some water, a little kitchen with a fridge, little table, the cooker, the grill. Then we can continue this way where we have a teleporter, some of the trait and embryo stuff, another smithy, some more water you need to be able to drink. Here you can see I kind of just used a fireplace inside of those things that overlap, but as I said, you could just keep those things going all the way to the ground and just have them as pipes inside of your base, I suppose. But yeah, we have quite a lot of space actually on the inside, surprisingly, especially if you of course use the garage, because then you have a whole extra room here too. And then we can actually also of course go to the other side where we have the little tower. We have this hallway connecting them. This is where I've got the industrial forge, although I technically already have a forge here, so you don't really need it, but to kind of utilize the space. So all we did on the inside, I think I forgot that in the tutorial actually, is just add a little walkway from where we enter the window. We leave the middle open so we can have the forge, or you can just make this an entire room if you want to use it as a room, and then just have one staircase leading back to the door that we did. Yeah, I kind of forgot to do the walkways in here, I think. But, I mean, it's nothing too special. And it depends on whether you actually want to use this room with the forge, because otherwise you can just make a normal floor here and just have a staircase somewhere to the other layer. And then, of course, this is the staircase on the outside that would lead up to where the tribe tower is. But of course, currently there is none because I had to remove it to place the other one in the tutorial. But yeah, that is how your base could look like if you decide to build this old abandoned factory, and a little bit of inspiration for the interior if you want to get a closer look and a little bit of a, you know, slowed down look at the interior. I have a whole video where I look around this base, which might be a little bit more relaxed to look around if you want to take some of that as inspiration. But hopefully you enjoyed this build tutorial. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and feel free to leave your suggestions for future build tutorials down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.